She was escorted out of the emergency room like an unwanted visitor, dismissed by the receptionist for lacking premium insurance. Ignored by doctors while her son burned with fever, treated as invisible among the wealthy and influential. Nobody knew that the woman in the worn sweater was the CEO of the largest healthcare conglomerate in America. And just minutes later, the entire hospital would stand in shock when she walked in and restructured their entire operation in the middle of the ER. Westlake Memorial Hospital in California stood as a gleaming monument to privilege. Its polished marble halls and cutting-edge medical suites served as a sanctuary for society's elite, where wealth and connections opened doors faster than life-threatening emergencies. The air hummed with the sterile sound of advanced machinery, the soft clink of crystal water glasses, and the murmurs of patients who wore their wealth like badges of honor, their luxury watches and designer bags testifying to their untouchable status. Olivia Morgan arrived at this fortress of exclusivity, looking nothing like the powerful figure she was. A desperate mother in faded jeans, a weathered sweater, and a baseball cap pulled low. Her son, burning with fever in her trembling arms, his small body fragile against her chest. She was breathless, nearly collapsing, her face etched with worry as she pushed through the glass doors of the ER, seeking only to save her child. The sprawling hospital with its VIP wings, private helipads, and digital screens boasting world-class care was a battleground for the ultra-wealthy, where treatment was a privilege reserved for those with premium policies and prestigious surnames. Sophia Keller, the receptionist, presided at the front desk. Her tailored suit and diamond earrings stood in stark contrast to Olivia's worn attire. Across the ER, nurses in crisp scrubs and doctors in monogrammed coats glided between business magnates and tech innovators, their eyes passing over Olivia as if she were invisible. The patients, a mix of corporate executives, Hollywood celebrities, and old money dynasties, sized her up with disdain, their whispers forming a mocking rhythm. Olivia's gaze, sharp and determined, despite her panic, scanned the sterile hall with precision. But her unassuming appearance rendered her invisible to the elite who ruled Westlake. To them, she was a nobody, a blemish on their polished world, and they were determined to dismiss her before she could even make her plea. As Olivia stood near the ER's triage station, clutching her feverish son, a group of tech executives with tailored blazers and smartwatches surrounded her, their laughter creating a hostile atmosphere that silenced the hall's sterile hum. A tall executive with an expensive lapel pin stepped forward, his voice carrying over the beeping monitors. "Look what we have here. Someone who clearly doesn't belong thinking she can take up space in our triage with her sob story," he jeered, waving his platinum credit card like a trophy. "That sweater is so worn it's practically inappropriate in this setting. And those jeans, they're screaming wrong hospital. This is Westlake, where we secure exceptional care for people who matter. Not where you come looking for handouts with your sick kid. You're diminishing the atmosphere just by being here. Why don't you try the county hospital before you delay our appointments?" The executives chuckled, some flicking their wristbands dismissively. Their taunts echoed through the ER. A celebrity in designer clothes smirked, encouraging their cruelty as patients watched the spectacle. Olivia held her son tighter, his whimpers piercing her heart, her face composed, her silence a fortress against their venom. But the weight of their scorn was crushing, the audience's indignation rising at the orchestrated public humiliation targeting her vulnerability and motherhood. The degradation began at the front desk when Sophia Keller barely glanced at Olivia before speaking through painted lips, her voice carrying over the ER's sterile hum. "We don't accept patients without premium insurance," she drawled, her manicured nails tapping the desk with contempt. "Perhaps try the public clinic in Southside where you'd fit in better. That sweater looks like it's seen better days, and those jeans, they're hardly appropriate for our clientele. This is Westlake where we cater to society's finest, not people who think they can walk into our ER with their children without proper coverage. Honestly, It's almost laughable you thought you could stand among our patrons. Why did you leave before you disrupt our environment? The nearby patients laughed, their designer bags raised as they leaned in to enjoy the scene. Sophia continued, her smirk cutting. Look at you. No policy, no class, like you are here seeking charity. Leave before we need to sanitize after you. Olivia stood motionless, her son's fevered whimpers piercing her heart, the face unreadable, the silence a wall that only fueled their arrogance. The audience's anger mounted at the cruel public dismissal that marked her as unwelcome in their exclusive domain. While Olivia lingered near the ER's waiting lounge hoping to catch a nurse's attention, a group of socialite philanthropists with designer masks and pearl necklaces surrounded her. Their laughter created a hostile environment that drew every eye in the hall. A blonde socialite with an expensive brooch stepped forward, her voice carrying over the clinking water glasses. Are you here for our charity program or just to burden our staff with your child? She asked mockingly, waving her designer clutch at Olivia. That cap is so outdated it's practically inappropriate. And that sweater. It's clearly not from anywhere prestigious. This is Westlake, where we fund exceptional medical care for the deserving. Not where you come to disrupt our atmosphere with your personal crisis. You're undermining our philanthropic image just by standing here, looking so out of place. Leave before we need to refresh the lounge after you. The socialites laughed, some flicking cocktail stirrers dismissively. Their taunts drowned out the hospital's ambient sounds. A wealthy businessman in a custom suit smirked, encouraging their behavior as patients gathered to watch. Olivia clutched her son, his fevered cries piercing her soul, her face impassive, her silence a shield against their cruelty, the audience's anger escalating at the vicious public attack that mocked her plea and dignity. In the ER waiting area, the head nurse Patricia Wells escalated the cruelty, scanning Olivia from head to toe with disdain. Her voice carried through the sterile hall. This VIP emergency wing is for clients with private policies exceeding $500,000, she mocked, her crisp scrubs rustling as she crossed her arms. Do you qualify? That cap is so outdated it's practically inappropriate. And that sweater? It's an insult to our patients. This is Westlake, where we save lives that matter. Not where you come to burden our system with your personal crisis. You're lowering our standards just by being here. Why don't you take your feverish child and go to the public clinic where you belong before you disturb our paying clients? The patients nodded in approval, their luxury watches glinting, their laughter a storm that humiliated Olivia in front of her son. Patricia's smirk was cutting, her voice sharp against Olivia's desperation. Olivia clutched her son tighter, his small body trembling, her face impassive, her silence containing hidden strength, the audience's fury peaking at the brazen public assault that mocked her motherhood and her child's suffering. As Olivia approached a consultation desk to inquire about emergency protocols, a group of financial executives with monogrammed ties and gold cufflinks intercepted her, their laughter silencing the ER's activities. A silver-haired executive with a platinum fountain pen stepped forward, his voice carrying across the hall. What's this? Someone clearly out of place thinking she can request our protocols. He jeered, waving his leather portfolio like a weapon. That sweater is so worn it's practically inappropriate. And those jeans, they're an insult to Westlake's standards. This is a sanctuary for the elite where we secure exceptional care, not where you come to burden our system with your sick child. You're diminishing our reputation just by being here looking so out of place. Why don't you go to whatever public clinic you belong in before you waste our resources? The executives laughed, some tossing paperclips at her feet, their taunts echoing through the hospital. A tech heiress with an expensive necklace smirked, encouraging their cruelty as patients gathered to watch. Olivia held her son tighter, his fevered body heavy in her arms, her face composed, the silence a defiance that went unnoticed. The audience's rage erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her inquiry and motherhood. When Olivia, her voice breaking but resolute, pleaded with the staff to at least examine her son. Dr. Richard Thompson, the ER's lead physician, turned his back on her with a scoff, his voice dismissing her and silencing the hall's hum. "We can't allow people who clearly don't belong to disturb our paying clients," he jeered, his monogrammed coat gleaming under the lights. "That sweater is so worn it's practically inappropriate, and those jeans, they're hardly suitable for our establishment. This is Westlake, where we prioritize the elite, not people who think they can demand our expertise with their pleas. You're fortunate we even let you through the doors. Go back to wherever you came from before you waste more of our time." The patients cheered, their diamond earrings catching the light, their laughter a storm that humiliated Olivia in front of her son. Dr. Thompson's smirk was cutting, his voice sharp against Olivia's desperation. Olivia's knees buckled, her son's fevered cries piercing her soul, her face composed, her silence louder than their jeers, but the weight of their cruelty was crushing. The audience's rage boiling over at the deliberate public dismissal that threatened her child's life. While Olivia stood near the ER's digital directory, searching for a pediatric specialist, a group of entertainment executives with designer sunglasses and tailored blazers surrounded her. Their laughter created a hostile environment that silenced the hospital's hum. A thin executive with a gold chain stepped forward, his voice carrying over the beeping monitors. "Look what we have here." "Someone completely out of place thinking she can navigate our directory," he mocked, waving his smartwatch like a button. "That cap is so outdated it's practically inappropriate. And that sweater. It's clearly not from anywhere prestigious. This is Westlake, where we secure exceptional care, not where you come begging for a doctor with your sick child. You're diminishing our exclusivity just by standing here, looking so out of place. Why don't you go to whatever public clinic you belong in before you taint our prestige?" The executives laughed, some flicking plastic coffee lids at her feet, their taunts echoing through the ER. A fashion mogul in expensive clothes smirked, encouraging their cruelty as patients gathered to watch. Olivia clutched her son, his fevered whimpers piercing her heart, their face impassive, her silence a fortress against their venom. The audience's rage erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her search and dignity. The hospital's daily operations were a showcase of elitism. But for Olivia, every moment was a gauntlet of scorn. Security guards led by a sturdy officer named Marcus Reed stepped in, pulling her by the elbow toward the glass doors, their voices mocking as they echoed through the sterile hall. "No premium insurance. Leave immediately, or we'll have you escorted out forcefully," Reed commanded, his badge gleaming as he gripped her arm. "That cap is so worn it's practically inappropriate. And that sweater. It's an insult to our facility. This is Westlake, where we protect our clients, not where you come seeking assistance with your sick child. You're fortunate we didn't call the authorities already. Leave before you make a scene." The patients laughed, their designer masks raised, their laughter a storm that humiliated Olivia in front of her son. Reed's smirk was cutting, his voice sharp against her desperation. Olivia stumbled, her son's weight pulling at her arms, her face impassive, her silence a defiance that went unnoticed. The audience's rage peaking at the forceful public ejection that threatened her child's life. Desperate to save her son, Olivia, now pushed outside the ER doors, scanned the hospital's exterior for any sign of help. Her son's fevered cries tormented her as she held him in her arms. She spotted a paramedic unloading supplies from an ambulance and rushed toward him, her weathered sweater flapping, her voice resolute. "Please, my son's burning up. He needs a doctor now," she pleaded, cradling her child to show his flushed face, unaware that the hospital's elite staff had already dismissed her. The paramedic, busy but compassionate, hesitated, glancing at her worn jeans and cap, his eyes softening at the boy's distress. "I'll radio for a pediatric consult, but the ER is strict about insurance," he warned, his radio crackling as he made the call. Olivia nodded, her hands trembling as she adjusted her son's blanket, her focus unwavering despite the socialites' jeers from the entrance. The audience's hearts ached at her maternal resolve, her desperate resourcefulness, a light in the hospital's cruelty, her obliviousness to the futility of her plea, a poignant truth. The ambulance bay, a hub of urgency, became a stage for her unyielding fight. Each plea testified to her love, the air thick with the weight of her son's suffering. The tension reached a breaking point as Olivia, her strength fraying under the weight of rejection, collapsed in defeat outside the ER doors. Her son's vivid cries pierced her heart, her worn suite soaked with sweat and tears. The staff's laughter echoed from the hall, their smugness a tangible force that crushed her dignity. A group of socialites, their fur coats and diamond necklaces gleaming, gathered nearby, their voices carrying through the hospital's entrance. "Look at her collapse like someone who doesn't belong outside our hospital," one sneered, her pearl earrings glinting. "That suite is so pathetic it's practically inappropriate. And those jeans, they're clearly out of place. This is Westlake where we heal the elite, not where you come seeking assistance with your sick child." The socialites laughed, some tossing coffee stirrers at her. Their taunts continued relentlessly. Olivia's cap fell to the ground, her face impassive, her silence containing hidden strength, the audience's fury erupting at the relentless public assault that aimed to crush her spirit. Undeterred by the hospital's rejection, Olivia, clutching her son's weakening form, pushed back into the ER's lobby. Her eyes darted for any unattended staff who might help her, her faded jeans scuffing the marble floor. She spotted a young intern at a charting station and approached, her voice a desperate whisper. "Please, just check his fever. He's getting worse," she urged, lifting her son to show his glazed eyes, unaware that the hospital's elite protocols barred her. The intern, flustered by the ER's chaos, glanced at her sweater and hesitated, his stethoscope dangling as he murmured, "I need clearance from the attending and insurance first." Olivia's heart sank, but she pressed on, her hands steady as she adjusted her son's cap, her resolve a quiet storm against the staff's indifference. The crowd muttered, some snapping photos, but Olivia's focus was absolute, her maternal instinct driving her to seek aid despite the hospital's cruelty. The audience's admiration grew, her relentless fight a light in the ER's darkness, her obliviousness to the systemic barriers a testament to her love. The charting station, a hub of medical activity, became a stage for her unyielding effort. Each plea testified to her strength, the air thick with the weight of her son's suffering. The hospital quaked as a convoy of executive vehicles screamed into the ER driveway, their engines drowning the sterile hum. Executives, directors, and the entire hospital board scrambled outside in a panic, bowing like subjects before royalty. The lead vehicle's door opened, and Olivia Morgan emerged, now clad in an ivory executive suit, her posture commanding, her eyes resolute, her son cradled gently in the arms of a trusted aide. The hospital froze as Olivia removed her cap, her voice cutting through the sterile air like a scalpel. "I am Olivia Morgan, CEO of Morgan Healthcare Group," she declared, her eyes sweeping the crowd, landing on Sophia's ashen face. "And today I came to inspect the operations of this facility." She placed a dossier on the reception desk, its pages thick with evidence. "For 3 months, I sent undercover patients to assess your customer service. And today I witnessed it personally. Effective immediately, every staff member on duty is terminated. This hospital will be converted into a community emergency center. And those of you who dared dismiss me, consider yourselves blacklisted from every Morgan healthcare facility worldwide." The crowd gasped, their designer masks slipping, their laughter choking into a stunned silence. Sophia stammered, her earrings trembling, as Patricia's scrubs seemed to deflate, her authority shattered. Dr. Thompson's coat hit the floor, his status suddenly meaningless. As Olivia emerged from the vehicle in her ivory suit, her presence commanding under the hospital's floodlights. She faced the stunned crowd. Her voice was a chilling command that silenced the ER's chaos. "You denied my son life-saving care," mocked his mother, "and thought your elite status could shield you from consequences," she declared, her eyes sweeping the hall, each word shattering their smugness. She signaled her team, who distributed termination documents to the offenders, each document detailing charges of gross negligence and ethical violations. "You'll apologize to my son, or my legal division will ensure your careers are erased by dawn," she said, her authority obliterating their arrogance. Sophia's face collapsed, her earrings trembling, as Patricia's scrubs deflated, her rank meaningless. The crowd watched stunned as the offenders apologized profusely, their shame a public spectacle that echoed through the marble halls. Olivia's tablet glowed as she initiated a global review of Morgan Healthcare's staff, the press scribbling furiously, the headlines framing her as a titan. The patients who jeered now stood frozen, their wealth meaningless against her power. The audience's satisfaction soared as the offender's pride was crushed, their world undone by Olivia's corporate might, broadcast across the ER for all to witness. The hospital, once a fortress of elitism, became a stage for their reckoning. Each pleading apology testified to Olivia's silent strength. Olivia stepped forward, her ivory suit a symbol of unassailable authority. The silence suffocated the ER. Her team handed her a tablet, its screen glowing with the hospital's new charter, renaming Westlake as the Morgan Community Medical Center. She spoke once more, her voice calm but resonant, each syllable definitive. "You judged me by my clothes, my desperation, and thought you could deny my son's life," she said, her eyes locking on Dr. Thompson's trembling frame. "Now you'll learn that power isn't in your policies. It's in the hands of those you dismiss." The LED screens behind her lit up, displaying the blacklisted staff. Sophia Keller, Patricia Wells, Dr. Richard Thompson, Marcus Reed, their disgrace broadcast to the hospital. Olivia paused by the ER's digital directory, her presence silencing the crowd, and addressed the remaining patients, her voice carrying over the beeping monitors. "You laughed at a mother's desperation, mocked her child's suffering, and thought your premium policies could shield you from consequence," she said, her eyes sweeping the hall, each word a verdict that rewrote the hospital's future. She signaled her team, who erected a screen displaying Morgan Healthcare's new ethical charter, each clause bearing Olivia's name as its inspiration. "This hospital is now a beacon for all, and your privileges are under my review," she declared, her authority reshaping California's medical landscape. The crowd gasped, their faces pale as Sophia and Thompson's names appeared on a public blacklist, their social exile broadcast to all. The press captured every second, their reports spreading Olivia's dominance across the healthcare world, the audience cheering as the offender's pride was crushed, their world undone by her command. The patients who'd mocked Olivia stood silent, their status nullified by her power, their hospital now a monument to her legacy. The directory, once a symbol of exclusivity, now reflected their disgrace, each bowed head testifying to Olivia's enduring dignity. Sophia tried to salvage her pride, stepping forward with a forced laugh. "Ms. Morgan, this is a misunderstanding. Let's not overreact," she stammered, her suit dull under the lights. "I was just upholding our standards, maintaining our exclusive environment." Olivia cut her off, her voice definitive. "Your standards endangered my son, Sophia. You're not just fired. You're blacklisted from every healthcare network I control. And that's a web spanning continents. 9 seconds. That's how long it took for you to ruin your career. Maybe you should try filing papers at a public clinic. It's the only thing you're qualified for." The crowd gasped, some stifling sobs, as Sophia's face burned, her authority shattered in front of her own staff. Olivia faced the celebrity who'd smirked at the executive's taunts, her voice a chilling calm that froze the ER, her suit commanding under the sterile lights. You thought your designer clothes gave you the right to mock a child in need, she said, stepping closer, her eyes locking on the celebrity's trembling frame. Apologize to my son, or your endorsements with Morgan Healthcare will be voided by sunrise. The celebrity complied, her expensive clothes suddenly seeming cheap, her voice shaking as she begged forgiveness. The crowd watched in silence as her shame was exposed. Olivia's tablet flashed as she initiated an endorsement termination, the press documenting the moment, their headlines crowning Olivia a queen. I am Olivia Morgan, and my son's life is the cornerstone of my empire, she declared, her authority shattering the celebrity's pride. The patients who'd applauded her now stood frozen, their wealth buried under her power. The audience's hearts pounded with pride as the celebrity's status was obliterated, her public reckoning a testament to Olivia's corporate might, served in the ER for all to witness. The hospital's halls, once a symbol of opulence, now reflected her disgrace, each stammered apology testifying to Olivia's silent strength. Dr. Thompson, his coat now meaningless, stood frozen, his confidence gone. Olivia faced him, her eyes locking on his badge. You thought your title made you untouchable, she said, her voice low but piercing. Apologize to my son, or your medical license will be under review by morning. Thompson complied, his badge hitting the ground, his voice shaking as he begged forgiveness, the crowd gasping as his shame was laid bare. Olivia's tablet flashed as she initiated a license investigation, the press documenting the moment, their headlines framing her as a queen. Olivia faced the tech heiress who'd smirked at the financier's taunts, her voice a chilling calm that froze the hospital, the suit commanding under the fluorescent lights. You thought your expensive necklace made you invincible, she said, stepping closer, her eyes locking on the heiress's trembling frame. Apologize to my son, or your family's contracts with Morgan Healthcare will be terminated by nightfall. The heiress complied, her necklace suddenly dull, her voice shaking as she begged forgiveness, the crowd silent as her shame was exposed. Olivia's tablet flashed as she initiated a contract cancellation, the press documenting the moment, their headlines crowning Olivia a queen. I am the CEO of Morgan Healthcare, and my son's dignity is non-negotiable, she declared, her authority shattering the heiress's pride. The patients who'd applauded her now stood frozen, their wealth buried under her power. The audience's hearts pounded with pride as the heiress's status was obliterated, her public reckoning a testament to Olivia's corporate might, served in the ER for all to witness. The hospital's halls, once a backdrop for privilege, now reflected her disgrace, each tear testifying to Olivia's silent strength. Patricia Wells, her scrubs now a mockery, tried to slip away, but Olivia's voice stopped her cold. You thought your rank gave you the right to mock my son's suffering, she said, stepping closer, her gaze resolute. Apologize, or every hospital I own will blacklist you by dawn. Wells dropped to her knees, her scrubs deflating, her voice trembling as she begged forgiveness, the crowd silent as her shame was exposed. Olivia's team handed her a legal notice detailing her violation of Morgan Healthcare's ethical code, the press capturing the moment. Marcus Reed, the security guard who had ejected her, stood frozen, his confidence gone. Olivia faced him, her eyes locking on his badge. You thought your badge gave you the right to threaten a mother's love, she said, her voice low but resonant, each word definitive that sliced through the hospital's silence. Apologize to my son, or your security firm's contracts with Morgan Healthcare will be voided by morning. Reed dropped to his knees, his badge clattering, his voice trembling as he begged forgiveness, the crowd gasping as his shame was laid bare. Olivia's team handed him a disciplinary notice detailing his violation of Morgan Healthcare's ethical code, the press capturing the moment, their headlines framing Olivia as untouchable. I am Olivia Morgan, and my son's honor is the foundation of this empire, she declared, her authority obliterating Reed's status. The staff who cheered him now averted their eyes, their arrogance buried under her power. The audience's satisfaction soared as Reed's pride was crushed, his legacy undone by Olivia's command, his public reckoning a spectacle in the ER. The fallout was seismic. Olivia exited the ER with her son, now under the care of the nation's top pediatricians, her ivory suit a symbol of unassailable authority, leaving behind a crowd that once dared to call her unwelcome. By morning, the medical world was ablaze with the story, the blacklist trending across social media, hashtags like #Morgan Healthcare Revolution surging nationwide. Outside the hospital, as Olivia prepared to depart with her son, now under elite care, a crowd of patients, media, and medical professionals, drawn by the news, gathered under the California stars, their eyes wide with awe. "You're the healthcare sovereign," one said, offering a bow. But Olivia raised a hand, her voice steady, resonant with unyielding power. "My son needs no bows. He needs a world that values every life, and I'll ensure it with every resource at my command," she declared, her ivory suit a beacon in the night. She handed a disciplinary notice to a passing patient who tossed lids at her, their gesture a silent command to face their shame. The patient trembled as he read his summons, the press trailing her broadcast the moment, framing Olivia as a titan and her son as a legacy, their headlines blazing across global outlets. Sophia and Thompson, watching from the hospital's windows, saw their world collapse, their arrogance buried by Olivia's power, their shame a public spectacle that echoed beyond the marble halls. Olivia's authority was a beacon, her lesson reshaping California's medical culture. The audience's hearts pounded with pride as the offender's downfall went viral. The patients who demanded Olivia's ejection stood frozen, their legacy erased by Morgan Healthcare's might. The driveway a stage for Olivia's triumph, each whisper testifying to her silent strength. Westlake's reputation tanked, its elite status a punchline in every facility from California to Geneva. Olivia didn't linger at Westlake. Her point was made, her power undeniable. The press uncovered her past, CEO of Morgan Healthcare Group, a woman who'd risen from nothing to build a medical empire, her strength hidden behind a quiet exterior. They called her the healthcare sovereign, her sweater and jeans now symbols of unassailable authority. Other hospitals sent her invitations, begging for partnerships, but she declined, her silence as powerful as her decrees. The patients who'd mocked her were left to grapple with their shame, their status erased, their influence a fading echo. Olivia's victory wasn't just a restructuring. It was a lesson etched into California's medical history, a reminder that the most unassuming person could wield the most profound power. The audience's hearts pounded with pride as Westlake's culture of elitism crumbled. New staff were installed, their respect for Olivia absolute, their eyes on the ER where she'd redefined power. The hospital's marble halls, once a backdrop for privilege, now reflected its failure, the memory of Olivia's arrival a shadow over every procedure. Sophia was forced to publicly apologize in front of the staff, her voice shaking as she admitted her mistake, the footage spreading online to further her humiliation. The blacklisted staff were shunned, their names erased from every medical network, their status a relic of their downfall. Morgan Healthcare's empire grew, its influence a beacon for every person who'd been denied treatment, the audience cheering Olivia's triumph as a testament to true strength. In the weeks that followed, Olivia's name became a mantra in hospitals worldwide, her story a cautionary tale for every smug clinician. The patients who demanded her ejection were ostracized, their reputations tarnished, their wealth meaningless against Morgan Healthcare's reach. Westlake's bookings plummeted, its sponsors pulling out, its legacy a hollow boast. Olivia was spotted at a charity event, her ivory suit understated, her presence a quiet storm that commanded every room. She didn't need their marble, their policies, or their approval. She'd come to save her son, and they'd failed, their arrogance crushed in 9 seconds. The healthcare sovereign had no need for their world. She'd already conquered it. The audience cheering her name, their satisfaction echoing beyond the hospital. Olivia never needed to shout. She let them expose their arrogance. She let them choke on their own cruelty. And when she stood over them all, she offered was the silence of absolute power. If you enjoyed this tale of justice served, remember that sometimes the most unassuming person in the room might just be the most powerful. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and become a part of our Everyday Life Stories community. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from our amazing viewers around the world.